Yarrow Chigens couldn't help but feel jealous when he thought about the Scarlet Holy Sun. If the Common People's Regal was the strongest lord of all races in the Supreme Will's camp, in that case, the Scarlet Holy Sun was the strongest Scarlet Lord in their Scarlet camp. No Scarlet Lord was a match for the Scarlet Holy Sun. On the other side, when this general saw that His Majesty had listened to his suggestion, he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that His Majesty would have the confidence to find trouble with the other party just because he had rarely lost and led a Scarlet Empire. If something bad were to happen, he wouldn't be able to go back and answer to Master Yarrow. At this moment, a Scarlet Guard suddenly walked in from outside the palace and said in panic, "Your Majesty, just now, there were 10,000 unknown spaceships that have suddenly descended above our capital. More than 6 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers have emerged from them. They are already in the troop arrangement above the imperial capital. They might attack us at any time." The entire palace fell silent as he finished speaking. Yarrow Chigens was confused. He had yet to recover from his shock. Only the general who reported the information reacted immediately, and his expression suddenly changed. Over 6 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 true god tiers, and more than 100 true god tiers. Which powerful divine kingdom lord faction attacked us? Damn it! Aren't they afraid of being killed by the Supreme Agreement? He said in disbelief. The other party doesn't seem to be a divine kingdom lord faction. The Scarlet Guard whispered. Could it be a super empire tier lord faction? The general frowned. However, no matter how powerful a super empire tier lord faction was, it shouldn't be so powerful, right? With such a powerful army and so many gods, why would they still stay in the empire stage if they directly established a divine kingdom? It's not an empire tier lord faction either. According to our scouts, the other party seems to be a kingdom-level lord faction. The Scarlet Guard said truthfully. A kingdom-level lord faction? How is that possible? Wait, Blazing Sun Kingdom? The Blazing Sun Kingdom is looking for us? The general said with wide eyes. In the myriad worlds, other than the Common People's Regal's Blazing Sun Kingdom, he couldn't think of anyone else who could accumulate such a force at the kingdom-level lord level. The Blazing Sun Kingdom of the Common People's Regal? When Yarrow Chigens heard this, he finally reacted. He had always wanted to deal with the enemy. He hadn't even gone to look for the other party. But the other party had already come knocking on his door. At this moment, he should have been excited and looking forward to it. However, after hearing the information about the Scarlet Guardians, he felt very uneasy. He didn't feel excited at all. 6 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers. How can there be such a ridiculous kingdom-level lord faction in the myriad worlds? And it's the lords of all races participating in the Lord of all races contest? Impossible. The next second, that's impossible, Yarrow Chigens muttered to himself. Then, he suddenly turned into a stream of light and rushed out of his imperial palace. He arrived under the sky outside. Then, he looked up. The next second, his divine body suddenly trembled. Then, like a sieve, he trembled uncontrollably. In the sky 100,000 meters away, more than 6 trillion soldiers stood in the sky. The vast sky was completely blocked by the trillions of soldiers. It was not an exaggeration to say that it could cover the sky and sun here. The light of the sun star could not even shine through the bodies of the soldiers. At this moment, the only light in the sky was the magic power light emitted by the soldiers, heroes, and god spirits of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, as well as the light emitted by equipment and divine artifacts. They stared coldly at the scarlet monsters below. At this moment, their gazes were like billions of kilograms of boulders, pressing down on all the scarlet monsters of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire until they could not breathe. Even Yarrow Chigens, the son of the Master God tier, couldn't help but breathe faster. He couldn't imagine all of this. It was even harder to accept all of this when what they said was actually true. Was the Lord of the Common People's Regal really that terrifying? The pressure from the soldiers alone made he feel unable to resist and powerless. If that regal appeared in front of him, he couldn't even imagine what embarrassing things he would do. Thinking of his own strength, he couldn't help but feel even more terrified. He was at the true god-tier level, but in front of more than 100 true god-tiers, he seemed so helpless. As for his 800 billion scarlet soldiers, 2,000 scarlet life forms, and 10 scarlet true god-tiers, they seemed insignificant in front of the other party's army. At this moment, Bai Yun's voice resounded throughout the entire Yarrow Scarlet Empire. We are the army of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. If you can see the difference between you and our army, it's best if you know what's good for you to surrender. His Majesty has spoken. Surrender and I will not kill you. Those who don't surrender must be killed. Towards the end, Bai Yun's voice was filled with coldness. The entire Yarrow Scarlet Empire fell silent. Many intelligent scarlet monsters had some thoughts at this moment. Yarrow Chijin's was the same. However, he quickly cut off this thought. The creatures of the Supreme Will Camp and the monsters of the Crimson Overlord Camp had been enemies since ancient times. Surrender and I'll live? How can it be that simple? He would rather risk his life in despair than believe in his enemy's benevolence. All the soldiers and god spirits of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. Yarrow spoke, his voice resounding in the ears of all the scarlet monsters. Don't believe his false words. They just want to save some effort when they kill us. If you really want to live, you have to fight your way out. This is our only choice. This is the choice of the warriors of the Scarlet Empire. All soldiers and god spirits, listen up. From now on, we will fight without restrictions. As long as we can fight our way out and survive, I swear in the name of the eldest son of the Divine Kingdom that I will make up for all your losses. Kill! Yarrow was the first to take out a true god-tier intermediate grade divine artifact bow from his world ring. Then he drew the bow and arrow, pointing the tip of the sword at Bai Yun, who was standing at the front. Whoosh! The bow was like a thunderbolt. The arrow that he shot out transformed into a purple divine light that pierced through the air and shattered the space along the way. It opened up a pitch-black path and shot towards Bai Yun. Bai Yun drew her bow calmly. Boom! Under the influence of the battle formation rule, billions of soldiers, heroes, and even god spirits surged into his divine body and entered his true god-tier elementary grade divine artifact bow and arrow. Whoosh! A faint golden arrow shot out. The two arrows collided in the blink of an eye. Then, they entered the depths of the exploded spatial mezzanine at the same time and caused a huge explosion in the depths of the space. Then, a light golden arrow rushed out of the explosion range and then out of the interlayer of space. It appeared in the real world and pierced through Yarrow Chijin's, who didn't react in time. Yarrow Chijin's stared blankly at the light golden arrow embedded in his chest. Boom! The unparalleled nomological power of the military formation silently erupted from his body. In the blink of an eye, his divine body and soul were destroyed, and his divine spark was shattered. The aura on Yarrow Chijin's body quickly weakened and finally disappeared. He was dead. Yarrow Chijin's originally wanted to use this arrow to encourage his soldiers and motivate them to fight, but Bai Yun's counterattack was too fast and fierce. He died under Bai Yun's swift and violent counterattack before he could react. He never expected this either. He didn't even see that common people's regal before he died at the hands of his subordinates. What? The general who had just flown out of the palace was stunned when he saw this scene. There was only one thought left in his mind. It's over. Yarrow Chijin's was the eldest son of Lord Yarrow. In the future, he would inherit the Divine Kingdom. He had come to the High Continent to participate in the tribulation of all races to increase his resume in the future. He never expected he to perish here. Even his younger siblings had tacitly agreed that they wouldn't have a chance to compete with their elder brother in the future. They had already chosen to lie flat in this invasion war and didn't make any efforts to fight for the throne. This was timely. The situation had changed. Yarrow Chijin's was dead. The future of the Divine Kingdom became confusing again. However, that was not the most important thing. Most importantly, after Yarrow Chigens died, Godlord Yarrow would definitely be furious when he found out about this. As the designated guardian of Yarrow Chigens, he would definitely not be able to survive when he returned to face Godlord Yarrow's anger. What should I do? He panicked. At this moment, he thought of what Bai Yun had just said. Those who surrender will not be killed. He struggled for a few seconds before his eyes quickly became firm. This battle, which had a huge disparity in strength, did not last long. The Blazing Sun Kingdom won at an astonishing speed. Just as Bai Yun and the others took down the Yarrow Scarlet Empire, a line of text suddenly appeared in front of Zhou. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. You have led your territory soldiers to destroy the Yarrow Scarlet Empire in this King of 10,000 Kings event. You have attacked the invasion of the Scarlet Lord camp and made a major contribution to this King of 10,000 Kings event. You have been rewarded with 10 bottles of Potential Advancement Potion, True God Advanced Grade, 10 books of the God Spirit, True God Advanced Grade, 10 Hero Inheritance Secret Manuals, True God Tier, 1 True God Invitation Letter, 1,000 Divine Crystals, True God Advanced Grade, 1 Exclusive Human Race Building Blueprint, and 1 Battle Resurrection Scroll. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. You have obtained the achievement Scarlet Beheader, High Tier Deity Level. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. You have obtained an unique achievement, the Unveiling of Victory, Special Level. Crimson Empire Destroyer, True God Tier 500 million Universal General Faction Points. Victory Unveiled. Special Level Value 1 billion Universal General Faction Points. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. Your magnificent feat of eliminating the Crimson Overlord has opened the prelude to repelling the Crimson Overlord's invasion. When you defeat all the 100 high-level Scarlet Empire tier lords led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire, this King of 10,000 Kings event will end completely. At the same time, as long as you obtain 50% of the contribution points in this Empire-level war and end this King of 10,000 Kings event before the 330th Supreme Army descends on the 10,000 Races battlefield, you will obtain the title of Obscure Achievement and the reward of this King of 10,000 Kings event. Current forces that have been repelled. 1. Remaining 99. Zhou Feit's eyes lit up. His guess was indeed correct. There were actually additional rewards for dealing with the Scarlet Lords. Just the achievement of the Scarlet Empire Destroyer, True God Tier, gave him a total of 500 million faction points. Not to mention the achievement of the Unveiling of Victory special level. That was worth 1 billion Universal General Faction Points. Looks like I can dig out more high-value achievements by destroying these high-level Lord factions. I should be able to obtain a better reward if I can destroy the Chaos Scarlet Empire. If I can destroy all the Scarlet Empires, no, even if only half of them are destroyed, and end this King of 10,000 Kings event in advance, I can even obtain the title of Obscure Achievement and the reward of the Obscure event. At the thought of this, Zhou Feit could not help but be tempted. Anyone who had played the game would know that the Obscure reward was the rarest and most difficult to obtain. Of course, he wanted it. He began to think. Today is the 20th day of the King of 10,000 Kings event. There are still 10 days left. Destroying hundreds of the Scarlet Empire in 10 days? Zhou Feit muttered. His eyes lit up. This challenge was very difficult. However, it was precisely because it was difficult that Zhou Feit, who had a belligerent personality, felt his blood boil. Furthermore, this aim might be an unimaginable goal for the lords of the other races. However, to him, who now had more than 600 billion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers, it was not completely impossible. Moreover, his power would skyrocket in the next few days. 10 days would be enough for him to wipe out all the Scarlet Empires, including the Chaos Scarlet Empire, as long as he wiped out 10 top-tier Scarlet Empires every day. He could even destroy half of the high-level Scarlet Empire. Then, he deliberately released this news to attract the other lords to join forces to deal with the remaining top-tier Scarlet Empire to help him shorten the time for the King of 10,000 Kings event to end. This way, he could end the King of 10,000 Kings event early. Then, because he had completed half of the high-level Scarlet Empire's goals and ended the King of 10,000 Kings event in advance, his faction points were also ranked first. This way, he would be able to obtain the event's final reward, the Obscure Achievement Title reward, and the Obscure Event reward. It did not affect his interests at all. At this thought, Zhou Fight nodded slightly in his heart. This plan was very promising. But it's safer. I'll try my best to eliminate the minimum of 15 top-tier Scarlet Empires in a day, and give myself a few days of free time to resolve any unexpected situations that might happen. Zhou Fight thought to himself. The factions under his command could destroy a faction like the Een Ghost clan that had 10 Empire tier lords in half a day. It shouldn't be a problem to spend an entire day obliterating 15 top-tier Scarlet Empires. If there was not enough time, he would not rest at night and continue his crusade against the top-tier Scarlet Empire. In any case, with the soldiers' extraordinary tier constitution, the supplement potions provided by the territory, and the Dark Walker Lord talent, it was not a problem for them to not sleep for a few days. It's settled then. Zhou Fight immediately made his decision. Then, he carefully looked at the reward for destroying the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. Even though he had already watched it once, Zhou Fight was still a little shocked when he saw it again. The reward for destroying a high-level Scarlet Empire was really generous. Just 10 bottles of potential advancement potions, true God tier advanced grade, 10 books of the God Spirit, true God tier advanced grade, 10 Hero Inheritance secret manuals, true God tier, and 1,000 Divine Crystals, true God tier advanced grade, were enough to make countless Empire tier Lord factions and even Divine Kingdom Lord factions go crazy. As for the true God tier invitation letter, Zhou Fight took a look at it and realized that using it, he could randomly summon a true God tier elementary grade God Spirit to become a true God revered elder of his territory. Zhou Fight's expression did not change as he opened it on the spot. The next second, the true God tier invitation letter turned into a holy white stream of light and left his hands. It flew out of the galaxy leader and disappeared into the sky. Zhou Fight clicked his tongue. It turned out that this true God tier invitation letter randomly summoned true gods. He didn't mind and looked at the exclusive human race building blueprint. Building blueprint name, Cross of Passion. Building blueprint level, race exclusive. Building blueprint effect, suffering. Build a cross building and bind any life form to the cross. The bound life form will suffer endless pain and suffering for 10 days. After 10 days, this life form will die in endless pain and irreversible death. It's actually this race's building. Zhou Fight was enlightened. In the history of the Cerulean planet, this crucifix was also known as the Cross of Deicide. It was even said that a god spirit had died in the cross, a religious torture device. Of course, this was made up by the Cerulean planet's mythical tier. There were no real god spirits on the Cerulean planet. However, this torture device was indeed very famous on the Cerulean planet. Unexpectedly, it had become a building exclusive to races. Zhou Fight was amazed. Judging from the effect, this crucifix was indeed worthy of being a famous torture tool in the history of the Cerulean planet. Moreover, the final, irreversible death that was created interested Zhou Fight. Go back and get Zhao Changsho to build the Yellow River Dockyard. Zhou Fight put it away and looked at the last Battle Resurrection Scroll. Item name, Battle Resurrection Scroll. Item grade, Special. Item effect. All living beings that die in a battle can be revived upon use. It really is the scroll. A smile appeared on Zhou Fight's face. He naturally had a deep impression of this item with astonishing effects. He had obtained 5 Battle Resurrection Scrolls in the previous Novice Lord test. 3 of them were used in the Novice Lord test, allowing him to pass the Novice Lord test with difficulty and become the strongest Novice Lord. He also received an important reward that allowed his Lord talent to be upgraded to the mythical tier. The only Lord talent, King of Loots. The other 2 were left behind, and until now they were unwilling to use them. He did not expect to obtain another one today. What a treasure! Zhou Fight put it into his king's treasure box and put it together with the other 2 Battle Resurrection Scrolls. This was a life-saving treasure. Unless he was in a desperate situation, He would rather waste his faith divine crystals than waste such a treasure. More than an hour later, on the emperor's throne in the imperial palace of the Yarrow Empire, Zhou Feit looked at the Scarlet General who was a true god-tier advanced grade. His name was Jiroto. He was the guardian that God Yarrow had specially sent to Yarrow Chijins to protect his life. Unfortunately, he hadn't fulfilled his duty. He had seen him die in front of him. Now, in order to survive, he had chosen to surrender to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Even though it was a gamble, Jiroto felt that he made the right bet from the looks of it. It seemed that this common people's regal was really as benevolent as the legends said. As long as he sincerely surrendered to him, he would definitely not go back on his word and do something that would harm the life of the surrendered person. At this moment, he was reporting to his new king what he knew about this tribulation of all races. Zhou Feit fell into deep thought after hearing it. Then he said, "So, more than half of the hundreds of high-level Scarlet Empires, personally led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire, were sent by the Scarlet Divine Kingdom to participate like the Yarrow Scarlet Empire?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Jiroto stated respectfully. "The Crimson Divine Kingdom can't participate in this tribulation of 10,000 races event, but they also want the event reward prepared by the Crimson Overlord for this event, so they did this. In addition, this will also be beneficial for their lord to compete for the position of Scarlet Supreme in the Scarlet Camp in the future." Zhou Feit nodded slightly. The Supreme Scarlet was equivalent to the Lord of all races on the Supreme Will side. It represented countless astonishing resources and authority. No Scarlet race or Scarlet Lord faction would not be tempted. "Tell me about that Scarlet Holy Son. You stated that he commanded the Chaos Scarlet Empire. Has he already established an empire?" Zhou Feit asked. "He had the King of Loots and many top-notch Lord talents, yet he was still one step away from establishing an Empire-tier Lord faction. Now, someone suddenly told him that someone else had already led an Empire-tier Lord faction, and it was even a high-level Empire-tier Lord faction. Zhou Feit felt that it was ridiculous. That Scarlet Holy Son's name is Aos. He is indeed the strongest Scarlet Lord among the younger generation of Scarlet Lords. The reason why he can command an Empire-tier Lord faction now is because he personally established this Empire-tier Lord faction. At this stage, who can establish an Empire-tier Lord faction?" When Jiroto stated this, he revealed an extremely envious and jealous expression. The reason why he can command the Chaos Scarlet Empire is because he has an incomparably heaven-defying Scarlet Lord talent. It stated that this Lord talent allowed him to inherit the power of a Divine Kingdom Overlord, as long as he completes the corresponding war goals and raises his faction and strength to a suitable level. He can inherit a portion of the Divine Kingdom Lord's faction. Now, the other party is a high-tier deity-level Scarlet God Spirit, so he naturally inherited a high-level Empire-tier Lord faction, Chaotic Scarlet Empire. It stated that if the other party advances to the level of a true god, he can take over a portion of the resources, status, and authority of the Divine Kingdom's Lord faction, the Chaos Scarlet Divine Kingdom. If the other party advances to the Master God tier level, it stated that not only can he inherit an ancient race, but he can also awaken an Overlord-level Lord faction and utilize it for him. With this Lord talent, he has undoubtedly turned into the strongest Scarlet Lord among the younger generation. At the same time, he is also the strongest competitor for the Scarlet Lord. This is also the reason why he was able to guide tens of thousands of veteran Scarlet Empire tier lords as the Scarlet Lord of the younger generation in this tribulation of 10,000 races. Even my previous master, who was just killed by the female general, Yarrow Chijins, the eldest son of the Master God tier, has to obey Aus orders. Zhou Feit. What kind of heaven-defying Scarlet Lord talent did he possess? I, who inherited the Overlord-level Lord faction at the beginning, began to rise from the Black Iron tier Scarlet Lord, right? Zhou Feit exclaimed in his heart. Wait, didn't that mean that if he killed the other party, he would be able to obtain such ridiculous talent? Where is Aus now? Zhou Fight immediately asked. AUS didn't come to the High Continent personally. What came to the High Continent was only a clone of AUS. He is still fighting in the Crimson Universe. This guy knows that he's destined to become a top-notch lord of an overlord-level faction in the future, so he cherishes his life very much. If he can avoid taking risks, he definitely won't take any risks. He won't hesitate even if he loses some benefits. Gerudo said honestly. Zhou Fight, what was with this familiar feeling? After the main body found out, he would definitely want to have a drink with the other party so that they could exchange experiences. At this moment, Zhou Fight suddenly thought of a problem. If your Scarlet Lord is the first to upgrade his territory to a high level, there should be a reward, right? For example, the first faction to upgrade to the White Silver Tier Scarlet Lord, the first faction to upgrade to the Yellow Gold Tier Scarlet Lord. But will he also receive a reward directly when he encounters our situation? He asked. There is indeed such a reward. However, because AUS has this Lord talent, it has nothing to do with him. Only the Scarlet Lord who upgrades his territory normally will receive the first upgrade reward. Gerudo said. Zhou Fight nodded. Blessings and misfortunes depend on each other. It seemed that even though AUS had directly obtained the inheritance rights of the complete and rich feudal lords and ancient races because of his lord talent, he had also lost some precious things. Just like him, even though his leveling speed was faster than all the lord of all races, he also lost the joy of competing with the lords of all races. What exactly do you know about this tribulation of 10,000 races? Tell me. Zhou Fight said calmly. Yes, your majesty, Gerudo hurriedly said. Then, he began to spill everything he knew. He used his divine power to draw in the air as he said, outlining in detail the military defenses of the Scarlet Empire, the appearance characteristics of some of the powerful generals of him, and even the little hobbies and secrets of some of the rulers of the Scarlet Empire. At this moment, Wu Tu was also present. As he listened to the other party speak, he recorded something on his personal terminal. Only then did the other party stop talking. Your Majesty, I've already told you everything I know, Gerudo said carefully. Let's descend. Zhou Fight could sense that the other party had indeed finished speaking. He waved his hand and let the other party leave. Then, he looked at Wu Tu. How's it going? Everything has been recorded, but I plan to talk to Gerudo about some small details. Go on. Zhou Fight nodded. Wu Tu bade farewell and left. Bai Yun. Zhou looked at Bai Yun. Your Majesty, I'm here. Bai Yun stood up and said respectfully. If you lead the army freely, how many high-level Scarlet Empires can you attack from now on until nightfall? Attention! I'm talking about the hundreds of high-level Scarlet Empires personally led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire. Zhou Fight asked. Your Majesty, currently among the hundreds of high-level Scarlet Empires, other than the chaotic Scarlet Empire whose military strength is still unknown, the other high-level Scarlet Empires are far inferior to us in terms of military strength, god spirits, and true god tier. It's about 3 hours until nightfall. In these 3 hours, if I drive Galaxy with all my might, I'm confident that I can take down at least 6 high-level Scarlet Empires. Bai Yun uttered without hesitation. Zhou Fight nodded lightly. Half an hour later in a Scarlet Empire. It was similar to his estimation. With the current strength of the Blazing Sun Kingdom's troops and the strength of their god spirits, even the beginner Scarlet Divine Kingdom could not compare to them. The intermediate grade Scarlet Divine Kingdom could even arm wrestle them. Dealing with some high-level Scarlet Empires that didn't even have the means of a Master God tier was naturally not a problem. He had previously imagined taking down 15 high-level Scarlet Empires in a day. It was actually a conservative estimate. Normally speaking, if he were to battle his Blazing Sun Kingdom at full strength, he might be able to take down 30 high-level Scarlet Empires in a day. He had the confidence to defeat all the Scarlet Empire factions except the Chaos Scarlet Empire in less than 4 days. When he had more or less figured out the intelligence of the Chaos Scarlet Empire's military forces and felt that he could deal with them, he could even directly prepare to end this King of 10,000 Kings activity. Speaking of which, after hearing Bai Yun's words, Zhou said. Then do it. In the next 7 days, if you can take down those 100 high-level Scarlet Empires, this king will record a great merit for you. I promise I won't let you down. Bai Yun's eyes lit up and she immediately uttered respectfully. With the current size and foundation of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, the value of a great contribution was extremely high. Now that Bai Yun had become a true god tier, her confidence and ambition had increased greatly. She was eager to complete the goal that His Majesty had set for him. Zhou nodded slightly. After that, Zhou and Bai Yi led their armies to conquer 6 high-level Scarlet Kingdoms before calmly returning to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou and the rest were very happy. This was because their gains were extremely abundant. They were stunned when they heard the news about the forces of the Scarlet Empire that invaded the High Continent. They would never have thought that they, as the invaders of the High Continent, would suddenly suffer such a huge loss. Even though the 7 high-level Scarlet Empires were not many compared to the more than 100,000 Empire tier lords participating in this exhibition, however, these 7 high-level Scarlet Empires were only a small part of the core leadership of the Scarlet Forces. The core leadership had been counterattacked by the lords of all races. How could they not be shocked? At this moment, in the territory occupied by the Chaos Scarlet Empire, there was a high-tier deity-level regional territory called the Cloud World. After this place was occupied by the Chaotic Scarlet Empire, AUS, the ruler of the Chaos Scarlet Empire, liked the environment here and felt that this place was more appreciate his capital in the Crimson Great Cosmos. Hence, this place became the second capital of the Chaos Scarlet Empire in the High Continent. In the Imperial Palace, Aus Clone was discussing the upcoming war plan with his Scarlet generals. Not only were they discussing the war scheme of the Chaos Scarlet Empire, but they were also discussing the war plan of the entire Scarlet Invasion Force on the High Continent. As the leader of the Scarlet Invasion Force, the performance of the Chaos Crimson Overlord AUS would determine how much he would benefit from this Crimson Overlord event. Crimson Overlord had never been stingy in nurturing the lords of its own faction as long as one had the qualifications to be nurtured. Therefore, AUS was very diligent in this aspect. Just as the discussion was getting heated, "Report!" An urgent voice sounded from outside the hall. Then, a scarlet messenger rushed in from outside the hall and knelt on the ground. He uttered respectfully, "Reporting to your Majesty." There was news from the front line that the Common People's Regal had already headed his army to annihilate the Mo House Scarlet Empire just now. Scarlet Lord Mo How has been killed and all the resources in the Empire have been plundered. The entire hall fell silent when that was announced. It's the 7th. How long has it been? He actually defeated our 7 core leaders. Is this Common People's Regal really that terrifying? Why does this Common People's Regal feel stronger than the legends? The ministers discussed animatedly. Silence! An attendant beside Aus Clone shouted. The hall immediately fell silent. Where are the reinforcements I sent? Aus Clone said. The reinforcements were on their way, but the Common People's Regal army was moving too fast. Our reinforcements couldn't reach them. In addition, we don't know the target of the other party's attack. The other party's attack on our Empire Tier Lord faction is too fast. We can only passively chase after them from behind, so we haven't been able to catch up and can't arrive in time to provide support. Let's descend, Aus Clone said. Yes, Your Majesty. The Scarlet Messenger bade farewell and left. After he left, AUS looked at the Scarlet Ministers. Only a small portion of these ministers were direct descendants he had nurtured since he was weak. The rest were inherited by he, through his mythical tier unique Lord talent, Chaos Demon Lord. Even though it was inherited, loyalty was very reliable. Therefore, he directly asked, "What plans do you have, ministers?" "Let's hear it." The ministers looked at each other. Then, the commander-in-chief, Zun Qi, stepped forward and said respectfully, "Your Majesty, the other party's mobility and war speed are extremely fast. If we only send reinforcements to protect the attacked high-level Empire factions, I'm afraid it won't be of much use. Since the other party can win 7 out of 7 battles today, He will definitely continue to attack our high-level Scarlet Empire forces tomorrow. I feel that there are only two choices that can break the other party's attack now. First, get all the high-level Scarlet Lords in the vicinity to gather together. At the same time, get the high-level Scarlet Lords to huddle together. In terms of military strength, they have to be at least as powerful as the Blazing Sun Kingdom. This way, when the high-level Scarlet Kingdoms are attacked by the Blazing Sun Kingdom, they will at least have the time to resist and wait for our reinforcements to arrive. Moreover, we can use this method to set up an ambush and eliminate all the forces of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in one fell swoop. Secondly, mobilize our army, put down all the matters at hand, and attack the Common People's Regal's Blazing Sun Kingdom. No matter how fast Common People's Regal's transportation is, his territory won't move. As long as we attack its core, the Common People's Regal will definitely return to defend. At that time, with our 50,000-odd Scarlet Empire factions and more than 1 million kingdom-level Scarlet Lord factions terrifying troops and god spirits, the Blazing Sun Kingdom will be taken down in an instant. All the ministers were shocked as soon as these words were spoken. This, in order to deal with the Common People's Regal, he gathered all our Scarlet forces. Isn't he thinking too highly of the other party? That's right. With more than 50,000 Scarlet Kingdoms, it's enough to gather more than thousands of true god tiers, tens of millions of Scarlet god spirits, and thousands of trillions of troops. Even top-notch Divine Kingdom Lord factions with Master God tier offerings won't be able to withstand such a force. Are we really going to deal with a small Blazing Sun Kingdom? You think too highly of him, don't you? No, I feel that we might lose if we rashly gather a large number of soldiers and god spirits to fight in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. This is because I heard that the Common People's Regal has a special ability called Insight Defection. It's said that before the battle, the other party only needs to activate this ability to take half of the enemy's troops for themselves. Once such a terrifying ability falls on the army we send, our army will instantly become the enemy's source of soldiers. Then, I'm afraid that our offense and defense will change between us and the Blazing Sun Kingdom. I also know about this, so before we solve this problem, don't easily lead the army to that Common People's Regal. This ability is too terrifying. If the other party really has such ability, which Lord faction in the world would be a match for that Common People's Regal? At this moment, Ao's calm voice sounded. I have a way to resolve the other party's countermeasure. The Ministers of Chaos immediately looked at AUS. After I found out about the Common People's Regal's ability, I personally asked the Great Crimson Overlord. Lord Crimson Overlord admits that the other party does have this ability. Furthermore, it's a Lord's innate ability. However, this Lord's innate ability is not omnipotent. First, this ability can only be activated once a day. Second, this ability can only be used when the difference in strength between the two sides isn't too great. If the difference in strength is too great, even if the other side activates this ability, it won't take effect. Third, the upper limit of this ability is at the level of an advanced grade Master God tier. This king has already spent some money to borrow a sacred object from the Crimson Overlord. With the protection of that sacred object, our army will definitely not be incited by the other party. In fact, it might even be reversed. The other party's Insight Defection ability will become our sharp weapon against him, AUS said with a smile. The eyes of the Ministers of Chaos lit up. Junqi, your suggestion is very good. But forget about the first one. The other party's mobility is strong. Even if we set up an ambush, I'm afraid the other party will easily escape. Also, I've checked Common People's Regal's past achievements. This human lord with the status of a regal has a terrifying ability to become stronger the more he fights. Therefore, we either don't come into contact with each other or fight. We have to use everything we have to kill the other party immediately. Therefore, I've decided to mobilize the forces of the 50,000-strong Crimson Kingdom and the million-strong Crimson Kingdom to attack the Blazing Sun Kingdom. We will never give the other party any hope of winning or even surviving. A hint of ruthlessness flashed across Ao's eyes. He had read many Lord novels. In those novels, some villains would always look down on the protagonist and let some of their subordinates deal with him. In the end, this behavior made the protagonist constantly become stronger through war. By the time the villain reacted and wanted to deal with the protagonist with all his might, the protagonist had already become a behemoth that could casually crush the villain. How could he, as the Scarlet Holy Son who was familiar with all kinds of novels, make such a mistake? Either they don't fight or they fight to their deaths. He, the Scarlet Holy Son, AOS, would never underestimate his enemy. He wouldn't care about the attitudes of the other Scarlet factions. The strong always walked alone. If one cared about the thoughts of the short-sighted and was even influenced by the thoughts of the short-sighted, one would only be destined to be a loser. Yes, Your Majesty. Even though the ministers of chaos had their own opinions in their hearts, seeing that their emperor had made up his mind, they did not say anything else and spoke respectfully with full fighting spirit. In the Blazing Sun Kingdom, within the Divine Kingdom world, Blazing Sun Palace, Bayun was kneeling in front of the main hall, waiting respectfully with her head lowered. Zhou sat on the throne and looked at the battle report projected in front of him. First was the faction points. Today they had wiped out 7 Scarlet Empires, including the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. In the process of destroying the country, he eliminated 1,051 Eye of the Heaven's anger targets. It had to be said, as the Scarlet Leaders faction in the King of 10,000 Kings activity this time, the Eye of the Heaven's anger in their country had shockingly many targets. In fact, some of the targets were not found by Zhou through the Eye of the Heaven's anger. Instead, they were targets that he had conveniently killed during the process of destroying the country. As for the 7 Scarlet Empires, in addition to the 1,051 Eye of the Heaven's anger targets, they provided Zhou with a total of 45.575 million faction points. In addition, he also obtained 70 bottles of Potential Advancement Potion, True God Advanced Grade, 70 books of the Book of the God Spirit, True God Advanced Grade, 70 books of the Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, True God Tier, 7 invitation letters from True Gods, 7,000 Divine Crystals, True God Advanced Grade, 7 exclusive human race building blueprints, 7 Battle Resurrection Scrolls, and a large number of Potential Advancement Potions below the True God level, Book of the God Spirit, Divine Crystals, and other treasures as rewards. And now, he had already obtained an extremely shocking lead on the rankings. The details are as follows. First place, Human, Lord of the Blazing Sun, 62,532,000,000 faction points. Second place, Original Spirit Race, True Lord, 13,816,000,000 faction points. Third place, Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord, 11,012,000,000 faction points. Fourth place, Chaotic Tribe, Great One Lord, 9,621,000,000 faction points. Now, the gap between me and the second place is nearly 5 times, excluding the possibility of accidents. Fourth place, Myriad Spirit Race, Spiritual Venerable Lord, 8,836,000,000 faction points. When Zhou saw the current rankings, a smile finally appeared on his face. Now, the gap between me and the second place is nearly 5 times, excluding the possibility of accidents. Even if I don't do anything in the next 10 days, I think I can firmly grasp the first place. He muttered to himself. Of course, naturally, he would not do nothing. Even though his event reward was almost guaranteed, the egg would continue to work hard for the sake of the obscure achievement title and the rewards for the event. The true lords should be dumbfounded when they see my faction points, right? Zhou suddenly chuckled. He was right. When the true lords saw Zhou's universal general faction points, they were indeed stunned. They could not believe their own eyes, believing that there was something wrong with their eyes. It was only after they repeated it several times and the number remained unchanged that they confirmed the fact. Then they felt deep helplessness. With such a huge difference in universal general faction points, even if they took out their final trump card, they would still be far inferior to Zhou. Yes, they had already prepared a trump card for this faction points ranking battle. This trump card was that they had prepared a large number of faction quests that had been completed in advance but had not been submitted. These faction quests that were about to be submitted were provided by the Empire-tier Lord factions and Kingdom-level Lord factions that wanted to befriend top bloodline races like them. It was for the sake of obtaining a little reward from top-notch races like them in the future. Even if it was just entering their sight, they were willing. In the face of the risk of these bootlicking Lord factions, the true Lords naturally would not refuse and accepted it one after another. He also handed in a portion of the faction quests and obtained faction points to increase his ranking on the faction points ranking. As for the other faction quests, they did not choose to submit them. Instead, they secretly stayed behind. They planned to sprint at the last moment and amaze the world with a single feat. They would catch the lords of the other races off guard and obtain a good ranking of faction points. He even wanted to use this method to surpass the Lord of the Blazing Sun and become first place. That was what the true lords thought. However, the idea was good, but the reality was not so good. They never expected that the Lord of the Blazing Sun's faction points would increase from more than 10 billion to more than 60 billion in such a short period of time. Was he cheating? Many lords of the 10,000 races suspected this. However, the truth was right in front of them. No matter how unwilling they were to believe it, they could only accept that the Lord of the Blazing Sun's faction points had far surpassed theirs. They even knew that even if they tried their best, it would be difficult for them to surpass this insurmountable opponent before the event ended. After all, the difference was too great. It was not something that their hidden faction points could make up for. Hence, they could not help but have another thought. He would definitely not be able to get first place. And the second? The true Lord, the heaven-chasing Lord, the Great One Lord, the spiritual venerable Lord, and the other top lords all had a consensus at this moment. He completely gave up on the idea of competing for the first place in the event and went all out to fight for the second place. Even though the rewards for the second place were slightly inferior to the first place, they could fall behind the Lord of the Blazing Sun, who was firmly in first place, but they definitely couldn't fail to get second place. As lords of the top races, they did not want to lose and could not lose. Zhou closed the faction points ranking and looked at the other rewards. Zhou threw the potential advancement potion, the Book of the God Spirit, the secret manual of the hero inheritance, and other ordinary rewards into the military merit exchange system for his subjects to exchange. Zhou silently stored the 7 battle resurrection scrolls, divine crystals, and other rewards into his king's treasure box. Zhou used all 7 of the true God tier's invitation letters. Then, he saw a text notification appear in front of him. Notice: the true God Spirit you have invited will join your territory after dawn tomorrow. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He had just over 100 true God tiers. Even though this number was not small, to him, the more true God tiers he had under him, the better. Finally, Zhou looked at the 7 exclusive human race building blueprints. They were: Human Race's Exclusive Building Blueprint, Imperial Tomb of Qin Shi. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Summer Palace Garden. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Louvre Museum. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Big Brother Wu's Cave. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Sydney Opera House. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Phil Tower. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Machu Picchu Treasure Hunting Park. Zhou carefully read the functions of these buildings. Among them, Qin Shi Huang could summon an Empire-tier soldier type, the Qin Terracotta Army. Summer Palace Garden could slowly increase the popularity of the people and increase the happiness of the subjects. The Louvre Museum could collect antiquities to increase the foundation of the territory, making it easier for the territory where the buildings were located to grow into a tourist city and attract more talents. Big Brother Wu's Cave could increase the probability of an architect advancing to a higher level. It could also allow subjects to change their professions here to special protection professions, monks and special life professions, religious architects. The Sydney Opera House was a special building that could nurture lifestyle professionals and combat professionals. It could reduce the need for professionals like them to advance to a higher level of promotion energy. Moreover, they would regularly hold music activities at the Sydney Opera House. It could also attract talents from all over to join the Lord's territory and become the subject of the Lord. The Phil Tower was a purely tourist building. It could also attract tourists from all over the world to visit it. There was a certain chance that they would settle down in the territory. The Machu Picchu Treasure Hunting Park is a special building for treasure hunting. Subjects could enter the park to play and search for treasures by buying tickets from the staff. If they were lucky, not only could they earn back the ticket price, but they could also make a huge profit. If they were unlucky, the scenery in Machu Picchu Treasure Hunting Park would make the tourists feel that this trip was not in vain. Zhou looked at these buildings and was quite satisfied. Then, his gaze landed on the first building blueprint. After looking at the architectural effects of the blueprint, Zhou shook his head regretfully. This was because the summoning requirement of the Qin Terracotta Army was to summon their heroic souls from the dead soldiers and store them in the terracotta soldiers to form the true Qin Terracotta Army. To other normal lords, this request was very easy to fulfill. However, to the soldiers under Zhou who had revived countless times, this request was a little difficult for him. He couldn't possibly let he kill a group of soldiers and not allow them to revive normally. Instead, he could live as a terracotta soldier, right? Zhou believed that he loved his soldiers like his own son, so he naturally could not do that. Let's build it first. At the very least, this tomb has the effect of calming the hearts of the people and appeasing the citizens of foreign countries. Even if I can't summon the Qin Terracotta Army, it's not a loss to build it. He muttered to himself. Then, he looked at the summary at the back. Today, they first subdued the Yin Ghost clan, then took over the race resources of the Heaven Hidden clan and the Rakshasa clan, and then defeated the 7 high-level Scarlet Empires in a row. These racial factions and the war resources left behind by the Empire-tier Scarlet Lord faction, the racial reserves of the clan, and their spoils of war were enhanced by the titles of the King of Loots and the Strongest Lord. They obtained a total of 236,816,000,000 legendary tier mist cores, 986,013,000,000 epic tier mist cores, 2,110,120,000 extraordinary tier mist cores, 4,530,875,000 diamond tier mist cores, 6,150,889,000,000 white platinum tier mist cores, 1,228,080,000,000 yellow gold tier mist cores, 1,4630, 000, 360, 000, 000 white platinum tier mist cores, 1,280,000,000,000 gold tier mist cores, 1,4630, 003, 000, 000, 000, 000, 000 white platinum tier mist cores. There were more than 1,050,000,000,000 skill books and 9,200,000,000,000 equipment. The basic materials were about 1,600 trillion units. Basic elemental gemstone resources, more than 100,000,012,000,000 units. More than 5,510,000,000 units of thunder element gems. 11,240,000 units of life elemental gems. 8,860,000,000 units of death elemental gems. More than 30 million units of time elemental gems. More than 18 million units of space elemental gems. 8,012,000,000 origin crystals. 2, 510, 000, 1,800 green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragments. More than 31,220,000,000 units of divine crystals from low tier to high tier deity level. 36,652 true god tier divine crystals. More than 1,260,000,000 low tier to high tier deity level divine artifacts. 3,688 true god tier divine artifacts. There were a total of more than 120 million divine spark fragments, god tier medicinal herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. 68,500 master god tier herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. In addition to these normal gains, they also obtained spoils such as the true god tier elementary grade battle formation, Summoning Rakshasa Heavenly Ghost. Shadowless Altar Building Blueprint, True God-Tier Battle Puppet. Rakshasa, True God-Tier War Machinery. Heaven Stealth Divine Warship, Special Equipment Blueprint. Shadowless Staff, True God Intermediate Grade Potion, God's Blood Potion, and other spoils of war that were unique to their race and civilization. Zhou nodded slightly after he finished reading this part of the war summary. After Zhou finished reading this part of the war, he nodded slightly. Indeed, he wasn't disappointed. In addition, the life elemental gems and death elemental gems that he had obtained had also far exceeded what he needed. Next, he could upgrade his territory to a legendary tier advanced grade or even higher. As for the green bronze tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragment that was as high as 2.5 billion, it could allow he to have 2 more mythical tier unique Lord Talents. In short, he had gained a lot. Then, he looked at the list of god spirits at the back. After today's war, a total of 516 advanced grade legendary tier soldiers under he had been promoted to low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits. Coupled with the 5,066 ordinary god spirits he had obtained from the 10,000 spirit saint and the 2,650 god spirits he had subdued after subduing the Tianqian tribe and the Rakshasa tribe, the total number of god spirits under him had shockingly reached 19,438. As for the true god tier, he originally had 122 true god tiers. In addition to the 48 true god tiers that the 10,000 spirit saint had obtained this time, as well as the 20 true god tiers that had surrendered from the Tianqian tribe and the Rakshasa tribe, he now had 190 true god tiers under him, including Yellow Emperor and the others, the number of true god tier under him. He had 194 true gods. Zhou looked at the final list of troops. Today, he had obtained the loyalty of a total of 501,170,989,160 soldiers through the 10,000 Spirit Saint. In addition to the 1,156,096,968,865 soldiers surrendered by the Tianqian race and the Rakshasa race, that added up to 1,657,267,958,025 soldiers. As for the Star Alliance Masters, after following the army to participate in the war between the people of foreign races today, they had also instigated Zhou's insight defection with 456,186,001,122 people of foreign races. The soldiers under he now, excluding the soldiers of the Star Alliance, had already reached 7,688,209,355,068 soldiers, including the 22 trillion soldiers of the Star Alliance. He now had more than 9.9 trillion soldiers under him. That was close to 10 trillion. 10 trillion. Zhou sighed. This was already comparable to an ordinary intermediate-grade Divine Kingdom Lord faction. Among these 7 trillion soldiers were 815.6 billion, 18.2 million, 7,502 Black Iron Tier soldiers, 817,464,449,464 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 720,222,409,680 White Silver Tier soldiers, 695,133,671,258 Yellow Gold Tier soldiers, 485,599,930 White Platinum Tier soldiers, 168,186,586,642 Diamond soldiers, 64,262,027,840 Extraordinary Tier soldiers, 369,125,677 Epic Tier soldiers, and 359,007,009,070 Legendary Tier soldiers. After today's battle, the strength of the god spirits under him had increased to varying degrees. Among them, Nazario and Extreme Dragon had advanced to the high-tier deity-level advanced grade. Furthermore, Nazario was already close to becoming a true god tier. Light Sacred Dragon. Ingersoll had advanced to become a high-tier deity elementary grade god spirit. He was not far from becoming a true god tier. Zhou finally nodded in satisfaction after reading it. Nazario's old friend was finally about to become a true god tier. Then, he didn't think too much about it. He walked out of the Divine Kingdom world and prepared to raise the level of his territory. In the sky above Blazing Sun Kingdom, Zhou looked down at the Blazing Sun Kingdom below. With a thought, he chose to upgrade his territory. A text notification appeared as 20,000 trillion units of basic materials, 100,000 legendary tier mist cores, 5 billion origin crystals, 50 billion basic elemental gems, 15 billion high-level elemental gems, and 10 legendary tier territory tokens disappeared. Congratulations! Your legendary tier elementary grade blessed land has successfully advanced to a legendary tier intermediate grade blessed land. Your territory has been successfully upgraded to a legendary tier elementary grade territory. Your legendary level 9 refinement divine transformation formation has been upgraded to legendary tier advance grade 9 refinement divine transformation formation. Territory stone tablet durability increased to 1 trillion/1 trillion. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Basic building blueprint treasure chest. Legendary tier advance grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Broodmother can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Life's shelter has increased. Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he looked expectantly at the material requirements for the territory to be upgraded to low-tier deity level elementary grade. Construction upgrade. 10 trillion units of wood, 10 trillion units of fine sand, 10 trillion units of metal, 10 trillion units of stone, 1,000 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals, 10 billion origin crystals, 10 million units of time elemental gemstones, 10 million units of space elemental gemstones, 1 low-tier deity level elementary grade city, 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits, 1 million legendary level military professionals, 1,000 racial heroes, 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade territory tokens. He looked at the storage of space-time elemental gems in his king's treasure box before a smile appeared on his face. In his king's treasure box were 2 small mountains of time and space elemental gemstones. Among them, there were more than 93 million units of time elemental gems and more than 76 million units of spatial elemental gems. All the upgrade conditions have been met. It's completely enough to level up. Since that's the case, I'll level up directly. Zhou did not hesitate and chose to level up again. Accompanied by 40,000 trillion units of basic materials, 1,000 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals, 10 billion origin crystals, 20 million units of time and space elemental gems, and 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade territory orders, they disappeared. Congratulations! Your legendary tier advanced grade blessed land has successfully upgraded to a low-tier deity level elementary grade building and advanced to a low-tier deity level elementary grade shrine, Lord's Law. Your territory has been successfully upgraded to low-tier deity level elementary grade. Your legendary advanced grade 9 refinement divine transformation formation has been upgraded to low-tier deity level elementary grade divine origin augmentation formation. Territory stone tablet durability increased to 1 trillion/1 trillion. Your territory has expanded to 50 million kilometers x 50 million kilometers x 100,000 kilometers. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest, low-tier deity level elementary grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Broodmother can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Life's shelter has increased. The next second, an even more dignified and loud voice sounded. Cerulean Planet World Channel Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to low-tier deity level elementary grade. Reward: Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Mythical Reputation Rating +3, Reputation Rating +1000, Unique Title of the Race. Glory of the Pioneer 8 has advanced to Glory of the Pioneer 9. Cerulean Planet's entire channel's Lord announcement. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun, Cerulean Planet's entire channel's Lord announcement. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun. A smile appeared on Zhou face. He had finally raised his territory to the low-tier deity level elementary grade and obtained the title of the glory of the Pioneer series again. In the current competitive environment where even kingdom-level lords were rare, he was definitely second to none. This was not the most important thing. Most importantly, he, who had upgraded his territory to the low-tier deity level elementary grade, could finally upgrade the Blazing Sun Kingdom from an advanced kingdom to a beginner empire. Even though it was quite satisfying to beat up the various Empire-tier lord factions with the name of an advanced kingdom, if he could advance, it was naturally better to advance. He was not in a hurry to upgrade the Blazing Sun Kingdom to an advanced empire. Instead, he began to check the rewards after upgrading the territory. The first was the low-tier deity-level elementary grade formation, Divine Origin Amplification Formation. This array formation could help god spirits recover their divine power and injuries. At the same time, it could also help lords comprehend laws and increase their comprehension of laws. Next was the mythical tier building Blueprint Treasure Chest, low-tier deity-level elementary grade. He thought that it contained some kind of heaven-defying building blueprint, but when he opened it, there were only dozens of ordinary building blueprints. For example, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade blacksmith shop building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade tailor talisman building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade pharmacy building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade farmland building blueprint. Other than that, there were also some more precious ordinary building blueprints. For example, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine artifact forging room building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade interesting goods shop building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary grade pet equipment building blueprint, and so on. These buildings might be considered rare construction resources for other Empire-tier lord factions. But to Zhou, the king of loots, it was naturally nothing. Not to mention low-tier deity-level elementary grade. He even had a lot of true god-tier building blueprints. He also had dozens of master god-tier building blueprints. Could only be built, but no one could use these true god-tier and master god-tier level buildings. Therefore, it was not built. Zhou threw it into the kingdom's treasury and looked at the next reward, Supreme Treasure Chest. He opened the treasure chest and took a look. A divine sword engraved with all living beings kneeling together was quietly floating in the treasure chest. When Zhou saw the sword, his breathing paused for a moment. Then he could not help but laugh. Finally, you're here. The Sword of Xian Yuan. Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. Zhou's eyes lit up as he looked at the sword in his hand. Race Divine Artifact Name. Incomplete Sword of Xian Yuan. Equipment Grade. Unique in the race. Race Divine Artifact Ability 1. The Sun Moon Star Sword. Unknown, you need to collect and fuse the Sun, Moon, Star faces of the Sword of Xian Yuan to activate this Race Divine Artifact ability. Race Divine Artifact Ability 2. The Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword. Unknown, to activate this race's Divine Artifact ability, you need to collect and fuse the Sun Moon Star Sword face of the Sword of Xian Yuan. Race Divine Artifact Ability 3. The Agriculture Husbandry Sword. Unknown, to activate this race's Divine Artifact ability, you need to collect and fuse with the Sword of Xian Yuan's Agriculture Husbandry Sword face. Race Divine Artifact Ability 4. The Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. All subjects under the rule of the Lord of Cerulean Planet have a fixed loyalty of +3. Subjects under the rule of the Lord of Swords have a fixed loyalty of +10. All humans on Cerulean Planet will respect the Lord of the human race on the Cerulean Planet who has the Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. At the same time, the Lord of Swords can call himself the Lord of the human race on Cerulean Planet. In times of crisis, he can command all the lords on Cerulean Planet and let the human race on Cerulean Planet reunite. Introduction to Race Divine Artifact. Sword of Xian Yuan. also known as the Xian Yuan Xia Yu sword. One side of the sword is engraved with the sun, moon, and stars, while the other side is engraved with mountains, rivers, grass, and trees. The hilt of the sword is engraved with farming techniques, and the other side is written with the strategy of unifying the world. Contains endless power. Not only can it kill demons, it is also one of the important reliances of the Lord of Cerulean Planet in fighting for the position of Lord of all races on the High Continent. Zhou's eyes lit up after reading it. The effect of the Heaven and Earth Unification Sword could actually increase loyalty. Moreover, at the critical moment, he could order all the lords of the Cerulean Planet to become the true masters of the human race. He was not interested in the latter ability. He was already the ruler of all humans, including the humans of Cerulean Planet after all. On the side of the human lords of Cerulean Planet, the human lords of the Star Alliance under him were already recruiting the lords of Cerulean Planet from various places to gather their strength together. Currently, 90% of the human lords on the Cerulean Planet had become his subordinates and listened to him. As for the others, they did not join because they were too far away or were unwilling to contact him. Therefore, he, who ruled over 90% of the lords on the Cerulean Planet, could already be considered the true ruler of the human race on the Cerulean Planet. The point of steadily increasing loyalty was very important. It had to be known that he originally had a heaven-defying lord talent like the Peaceful Times. It could allow the loyalty of the subjects under him to basically reach 80 or even 90 points. Coupled with various treasures, buildings, buffs, and other supplementary means to increase the loyalty of the subjects in the territory, it could be said that many of the subjects under he had loyalty above 90 points. Now, coupled with the 10 points of fixed loyalty, Zhou immediately closed his eyes and sensed the changes in his power of faith at this juncture. A moment later, he opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his lips. In his perception, he could sense that tens of billions of fanatic believers had suddenly appeared among the subjects under him. Before that, these fanatic believers were only devout believers or even true believers. Now, with these 10 points of loyalty, he had become a fanatic believer. And the pure power of faith transmitted by these fanatic believers' threads of faith also made his accumulation of power of faith suddenly increase by more than 1,000 times. With such a huge and pure power of faith as his backing, it was more than enough to advance to a true god, what more the high-tier deity level. Now, the only thing that limited his advancement was his territory level and nomological comprehension. As long as he met these two requirements, he would be able to advance rapidly without any bottlenecks. Then, he took a deep breath and took out another incomplete sword. It was the incomplete sword of Shen Yuan that had fused with the sword of Shen Yuan, Sun Moon Star Sword, sword of Shen Yuan, Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword, sword of Shen Yuan, Agriculture Husbandry Sword. With a solemn expression, Zhou drew the two incomplete swords closer to each other. Just as the two were about to collide, a golden light suddenly lit up from the two incomplete Shen Yuan swords. After the golden light dissipated, an incomparably noble golden ancient sword that had fused with the Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword, the Agriculture Husbandry Sword, the Sun Moon Star Sword, and the Heaven and Earth Unification Sword floated in front of Zhou. Zhou condensed the divine sword. He was very excited. This racial divine artifact was finally complete. He immediately looked at the sword's attributes. Race Divine Artifact Name: Shen Yuan Divine Sword, Equipment Grade. Unique in the race, Race Divine Artifact Ability 1, Sun Moon Star Sword. All humans on Cerulean Planet will be illuminated by the light of the sun, moon, and stars, increasing their potential by a small level. Lords with swords and their subjects will be loved by the sun, moon, and stars, and their potential will increase by a large level. Race Divine Artifact Ability 2, Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword. All plants planted by the humans of the Cerulean Planet will be loved by the mountains and rivers. Their growth time will decrease by 20%. The maximum reduction time is not more than 99.9%. The Lord and its Cerulean Planet subjects would be even more favored by the Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword. The growth time of plants and trees would decrease by 30%. The maximum reduction time would not exceed 99.9%. Moreover, when plants matured, there was a 20% chance that the medicinal effect would increase by 50%. There was a 1% chance that the quality of plants and trees would increase by 1. And there was a 0.01% chance that the quality of plants and trees would increase by 2. Race Divine Artifact Ability 3, Agriculture Husbandry Sword. Gains of all cerulean planets human lords agriculture, livestock, and breeding industries plus 100%. Agricultural, livestock, and breeding industry plus 300% for the lord who obtained the sword. Race Divine Artifact Ability 4, Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. Omitted. Race Divine Artifact Ability 5, Demon Slaying Demon Sword. All lords of cerulean planet and subjects under their rule will have plus 100% lethality when facing enemies from other races. Lords with swords will have plus 300% lethality when facing enemies from other races. Race Divine Artifact Ability 6, Supreme Magic Sword. Sword-wielding lords' comprehension of supreme laws plus 100%. Easier to become a supreme law god spirit. Introduction to Race Divine Artifact. Xian Yuan Divine Sword, also known as the Xian Yuan Xia Yu Sword. One side of the sword is engraved with the sun, moon, and stars, while the other side is engraved with mountains, rivers, grass, and trees. The hilt is engraved with the art of farming and cultivation, and the other side is the strategy of unifying the world. Contains endless power. Not only can it kill demons, but it is also one of the important reliances of the Lord of Cerulean Planet in fighting for the Lord of all races on the High Continent. Zhou was very satisfied after reading it. The complete sword of Xian Yuan was first named Xian Yuan Divine Sword. That was nothing much other than adding 2 new abilities. Among them, the Demon Slayer Sword was naturally the most practical. When facing enemies from the people of foreign races, the destructive power of the Cerulean Planet subjects and the Lord increased by 100% and 300% respectively. This was a percentage increase. Even to the current Zhou, it could greatly increase his strength, let alone the nearly 10 trillion soldiers under him. As for the Supreme Sword, it could also make it easier for him to comprehend the Lord's laws. Zhou's need for comprehension had never been capped, so he was very satisfied with the effect of this race's divine artifact. No wonder the introduction of the Xian Yuan Divine Sword said that this race divine artifact is one of the critical weapons of the Lord of Cerulean Planet in fighting for the Lord of all races on the High Continent. If I can become a Lord Law God Spirit, it will indeed increase my chances of competing for the position of Lord of all races. Zhou was deep in thought. Then, he thought of something and suddenly laughed. If the leaders of the people of foreign races who yearned to become Lord Law God Spirits knew about this, they would probably be very envious that the humans of Cerulean Planet actually had such a heaven-defying race divine artifact. They could actually rely on this race divine artifact to rise the probability of becoming Lord Law God Spirits. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He looked at the subsequent rewards. There was naturally no need to mention the 3 mythical reputation rating and 1000 reputation rating. Zhou was no longer interested in reputation rating talents, but he was still quite interested in mythical reputation rating talents. He had never been disappointed by mythical reputation rating talents after all. Furthermore, they did not become ordinary just because his force had increased. This was extremely rare and precious. Many of his talents with reputation rating had felt all right at the time. Now, many of them had gradually become mediocre and had even become ordinary people. This was the result of not being able to keep up with the speed of development. However, mythical reputation rating talents it could be seen how precious talents of this level were. Then Zhou viewed at the impact of the title of the Glory of the Pioneer 9. Title name: Glory of the Pioneer 9. Title quality: Unique title of the race. Title effect 1. You are famous among the Cerulean Planet Lords. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of followers you can summon through the gate of summoning every day plus 900%. Professional talents of the same level as the territory among the subjects summoned plus 10. Title Effect 2. Same as before. Title Effect 3. When you become the first lord of Cerulean Planet with a low-tier deity level elementary grade territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer X, and more title effects will be unlocked. Title Introduction. Same as before. A smile appeared on Jojo's face. This title could allow he to summon a subject every day with a professional talent of the same level as the territory plus 10. In other words, he could now summon 10 low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits every day. Even though he no longer lacked these 10 low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits, the feeling of freeloading was indeed comfortable. The day of freeloading god spirits is finally coming. Jojo was very pleased with himself. He had been looking forward to this day ever since he learned of the title of Glory of the Pioneers. Now he had finally gotten what he wanted. He opened the World Channel feeling smug. As expected, the human lords on Cerulean Planet were also discussing the matter of their territory officially advancing to God-tier territory. His Majesty is awesome. A God-tier territory. I really want to go to His Majesty's territory to take a look. It must feel good to live in His Majesty's God-tier territory. Congratulations, Lord of the Blazing Sun. His Majesty is once again ahead of all the other lords, becoming the first person to upgrade his territory to a low-tier deity-level elementary grade territory. I'm willing to give up my status as a lord and become an ordinary subject in His Majesty's territory. You're already dreaming before it's time to sleep. Ordinary? Have you seen any ordinary subjects of the Lord's faction who are all professionals? All professionals? Really? I'm a member of the military alliance and have the honor of visiting the Blazing Sun Kingdom. I can prove that what the person above said is true. The subjects of the Blazing Sun Kingdom can receive a class change certificate for free and freely change their profession to a combat professional or military professional. It's said that this kind of universal professionalization has been implemented in the Blazing Sun Kingdom for a period of time. Ridiculous. I only have 11% professionals, which is much better than most lords. It's hard to imagine what the territory of all professionals looks like. I'm willing to acknowledge Your Majesty as my foster father. Get lost. I want to be His Majesty's leg hair. Jojo looked at the content of these people's chat and could not help but smile. Then, he looked at the chat content on other channels such as the Star Alliance channel, Kingdom channel, and Camp channel and realized that most of them were talking about him. Furthermore, the lords of the Cerulean Planet weren't the only ones talking. The other lords of foreign races were also talking about Jojo's God-tier territory. Furthermore, from the content of their conversation, they were also very shocked that the common people's regal could actually upgrade his territory to the low-tier deity-level elementary grade at this time. Jojo was deep in thought. News travels fast. Could it be that I'm not only the first lord on the Cerulean Planet to upgrade my territory to a lower-level lesser god, but also the first lord among the lords of all races to upgrade my territory to a low-tier deity-level elementary grade? The more he thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. Otherwise, how could it cause such a huge commotion? That made sense. The resources needed to upgrade the territory to low-tier deity-level elementary grade were terrifying. Even if Jojo had a resource-type lord talent like the King of Loots, coupled with the fact that he had conquered many races, he could barely gather these resources. If the other lords of the 10,000 races were from top-notch bloodline races, without the direct help of the races behind them, they would not be able to gather the requirements to upgrade their territory to the god-tier level at this time. From the looks of it, he might indeed be the first lord to upgrade his territory to the low-tier deity-level elementary grade. Thinking of this, he stopped thinking about it and looked at the material requirements for the territory to be upgraded to a lower-level deity. Building upgrade: 50 trillion units of wood, 50,000 trillion units of fine sand, 50,000 trillion units of metal, 50,000 trillion units of stone, 5,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals, 50 billion origin crystals, 50 million units of time element gems, 50 million units of space element gems, 3 low-tier deity-level elementary grade cities, 1 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade cities, 10 low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits, 3 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade, 5 million legendary tier military professionals, and 2,000 racial heroes, 10 low-tier deity-level elementary grade territory tokens, and 3 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade territory tokens. I have gathered the necessary basic materials, divine crystals, origin crystals, time and space elemental gems, low-level deity-level cities and territory tokens, low-level deity-level god spirits, legendary tier military professionals, and racial heroes to upgrade my territory again. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He was not surprised by this as he had accumulated a lot of spacetime elemental gems. It was normal for him to be able to support the need to continuously upgrade his territory after all. However, the only thing that surprised he was the needs of the racial heroes. 2,000 racial heroes. The requirement to advance to the beginner empire is so high, even though the number of heroes in my territory has long exceeded this number. I remember that Elizariel's Elven Empire, as a high-level empire, doesn't have more than 500 elven heroes in their country, right? Zhou was shocked. This requirement for the number of heroes had truly exceeded his imagination. In his memories, there was absolutely no need for so many heroes for the aboriginal factions in the High Continent to upgrade their territories. Even the resource requirements weren't so ridiculous. Unless the Supreme Will event that might appear in the future rewards a large number of hero inheritance-type rewards that can greatly increase the number of heroes under the Lords of all races. Then, through encouraging the Lords of all races to fight and merge with each other, a powerful Lord faction of the myriad races will obtain a large number of heroes. Only then can it be possible to create so many race heroes. Zhou had a guess. With the Supreme Will's personality and his expectations of the Lord of all races, it was really possible to design such a goo-rearing activity. He thought for a while and stopped thinking about it. He chose to upgrade his territory. The next second, accompanied by 20 trillion units of basic materials, 5,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals, 50 billion origin crystals, 100 million units of spacetime elemental gems, and 13 low-tier deity-level elementary grade territory orders, they disappeared. Congratulations! Your low-tier deity-level elementary grade shrine, Lord's Law, has successfully advanced to low-tier deity-level intermediate grade shrine, Lord's Law. Your territory has been upgraded to low-tier deity-level intermediate grade. Your low-tier deity-level elementary grade. Divine Origin Augmentation Formation has been upgraded to low-tier deity-level intermediate grade. Territory Stone Steel Durability increased to 2 trillion/2 trillion. Your territory has expanded to 100 million km times 100 million km times 500,000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest. Low tier deity level intermediate grade. Lord talent notification. Your Scarlet Broodmother can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Life's shelter has increased. Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he looked at the materials needed to upgrade his territory to low-tier deity-level advanced grade. Building upgrade, 10 trillion units of wood, 10 trillion units of fine sand, 10 trillion units of metal, 10 trillion units of stone, 10,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals, 100 billion origin crystals, 100 million units of time element gems, 100 million units of space element gems, 10 low-tier deity-level elementary grade cities, 5 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade cities, 1 low-tier deity-level advanced grade cities, 20 low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits, 10 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade, 3 low-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, 10 million legendary tier military professionals, and 3,000 racial heroes, 20 low-tier deity-level elementary grade territory tokens, 10 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade territory tokens, and 10 low-tier deity-level advanced grade territory tokens.